A MIG gun will make a welder out of anybody, apparently. Well, today I have a chance to work on a project that is going to let me start out in my shop, doing some fabricating and a little bit of rough woodwork, and then move what it is that I've been working on here over to Ben and Amanda's shop that I finished building, oh heck, I don't know, now almost a year ago. It's a bench. It's something that has been on my mind. I convinced Ben it was the best solution for the space that he had and the work that he needed to do, and so I get a chance to use a collection of the tools that mean so much to me to do something worthwhile for the people who mean so much more to me. So with these things built, I'm going to attach them to this piece of a glulam beam that I had cut out of some old and weathered and deteriorated glulams, 2.5 or 3 years ago. You watched those things get cut up. You watched 2 or 3 of them go into my wood shop and 2 or 3 of them go into Ben and Amanda's shop. And this is one of the last uses for the remnants of that stack. I got a couple more projects, but I'm gonna use this and create a workbench that they're gonna have a real hard time breaking. The problem I have to solve now is this thing is cupped out in the sun and the weather. And so I'm using this big fat piece of tubing and some through bolts to squeeze the cup out so it's nice and flat for the 3/4 inch oak plywood that's going to go on the face. The other side is the face. I thought, and I still may, need to score the other side of this to relax this thing, but tightening that down, I heard one of those glue joints pop. So I'm going to tighten it up a little bit, roll it over, and see what it looks like. Pretty sturdy. So I hope that this was clear. What I was doing was flattening this now 3 by 23.5 inch glulam beam that had been baking in the sun for a while, flattening it out with that steel tube. And I heard some pop, pop, pop as I was pulling down on it, and I assumed that the glue joint had just let go between a couple of these laminations. But not so. Look at this, just in case you ever had any misgivings about the strength of the gluing on a glulam beam. Even one that is profoundly weathered on this side, it pulled that 2x4 apart before any of these glue joints failed. And the crack runs right down there and then veers off and starts and veers off. Now that glue joint's opened up a little bit, and down here it was fairly flat to begin with, but that's about as good a recommendation as you can get for this type of engineered lumber. The glue that's applied under heat and pressure is as strong or stronger than the wood fiber the way God built it. Pretty handy, since we have to make our forests more sustainable, or at least we're not able to cut as many big trees as we used to be able to. And so the Pacific Northwest is significantly forested now with, 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old wood that needs to be turned into large structural members. Count on the glue, boys. All right, I'm going to take this over to Ben's, unload it, and then we'll worry about putting the plywood work surface on the top. So far, so good. Okay, so that is anchored. That's anchored. Shim the back up a little bit to get level. We'll be putting a piece of 3/4 oak on here to finish it off, make it very civilized. There's the crack that opened up with the tightening of the leg assembly. Very strong. I had made up my mind last night when I put this bench in that I was just going to let Ben put this oak plywood on top of the bench. He picked it out, he bought it. I mean, he likes to do this sort of thing, and he's learning. And then I thought, no, I'm not. I started this project, by golly, I'm going to finish it. And I don't think it was always that way with me, that just because I started something, I had to be the guy to bring it across the finish line. But I don't know, maybe it's part of what Ken has beaten into me, that once you start something, you probably ought to stick with it until it's really done. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw the plywood on, put an oak face across the front, and then turn it over to the computer man. That's it. We're done with that project, which means it's time to go back to the shop and start on some real woodwork on the Ken Jordan Shaker style workbench. He's not quite given up on either A, my determination to start it, or B, my ability to do it, but I see his resolve weakening just a little. We'll be back at it. Thanks for watching Essential Craftsman, and keep up the good work.